the roadworks and the half-term traffic, and will be with us shortly. So what was going to be a double-hander turns out to be a glamorous solo appearance. We welcome Valerie Adams. And since we saw you a year ago, there's three things I want to ask you about. Got married?
Yeah.
A little operation to get yourself right for Olympic year, and this must be true because I read it in the New Zealand paper, on Thursday at the Diamond League in Rome, you persuaded a photographer that you're an 800 metre runner, so deal with those things. How are things?
Things are very good, thank you. Yeah, last year was an interesting year for me with a lot of things I had to overcome, with injuries and surgeries and rehab, and then I had to go home and had another surgery on the knee, and I made the choice not to go to World Indoors, which was the best choice I could have done, but I'm very grateful for the fact that I did come out last year and have a go at competing, and try to, because I think it would have been harder to come back out this year and compete. But apart from that, yes, I got married 2 months ago, a couple of days ago was the anniversary, thank you. Which was cool, and Gabriel, he's taken sabbatical off work, so he's here with me for the journey right through to Rio, which is pretty amazing. I've been away from home for such a long time on my own, and it's good to have a buddy to travel with and to, I guess, speak to at night, because I live in Switzerland and we just speak French all the time, so it's great to speak a little bit of English every now and then. The little photographer, so he was on the athlete's bus going into to the Diamond League event, and he asked me if I was a runner, and I said yes. And he was, which one? I said, 800 metres. Oh, very good. Nice and tall. I was like, yeah, I know. I was thinking to myself, you're going to an event that you're a photographer at, and you should, like, look at the size of me. I don't look like 800 metre whatsoever. So, make sure you photographers look at your athletes before you, just assume that they're an 800 metre runner when they look like shot putter.
And you're a very sporty family. You've got a brother that got a long way in NBA in the last season.
Yeah, they were in the conference playoffs. So Stephen Adams, my little brother, plays for Oklahoma City Thunders. They're in the playoffs against the Warriors. So they lost the conference finals, which is guttering. But he got knocked in the nuts a few times, and which is stink for him. But apart from that, he's played very, very well, and he's come a very long way, and I'm very proud of him. And he's done awesome stuff, so it's great. But at the end of the day, for me, he's just my little brother. Like, he's no big deal, but everybody else, kind of has a hoo-ha about him, and it's great. It makes me very, very proud to be his big sister. And
you get to see each other, or just on telly, or online?
Well, online. There's always Messenger that you guys keep in touch. Like, his season has just finished. Our season, we're right in the middle of our season. So people always ask me if I get an opportunity to go watch him play. Like, I really don't, because the seasons just don't work out. But hopefully in the future I'll be able to go and watch him someday play and do what he's got to do. So that's awesome. Last year I was able to come to Switzerland for a couple of weeks because the Warrior, his team didn't make it through to the conference finals. So that was awesome to just hang out with him for 2 weeks and just do sibling stuff, really. I mean, play wrestling, beat each other up, go to the gym every now and then. So it was good.
Has the New Zealand team been completely finalised for Rio?
No, we've had the first tier of athletes qualify and be named. So they'll have the final naming of the track and field team in July, and that gives the other athletes who haven't qualified the opportunity to come to Europe and try and qualify. And I think that's a great situation for us, is having the opportunity to come to Europe and finding some meets to try and qualify. It's not easy, I guess, for a lot because they only have the one standard this year. But yeah, we're hoping to get a bigger team than we did in London.
Are we talking about some 15, 20?
Yeah, something around there, yeah.
And you've got some decent male shot putters coming through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for you, you've almost had to relocate yourself to Europe to continue at world-class level. It's very, very difficult to do it from the Southern Hemisphere year-round, isn't it?
It is, because the season is in Europe majority of the time, and obviously in New Zealand right now we're in the middle of winter, so it's just raining all the time. But we've got a couple of young ones coming through. Tom Walsh, who won the World Indoors in Portland this year, and Jacko Drill, which has been phenomenal for throwing in New Zealand in general. We have a few discus throwers who'll come through as well, but it is important, I guess, for us to come to Europe to have that exposure to international competition, and for these young kids to come over here to have that experience, so when they get to championships and stuff, they don't get too overwhelmed, because it is quite an overwhelming situation to come from little old New Zealand into an international competition and expect to compete at the top form without actually knowing what it's all about. So it's good. I've been on the road for myself for a very, very long time, so I try and share my knowledge with these young children. So.
And it's not like Kirani James, where you're a nation that's world rugby champions, good at cricket, good at a whole load of things. But when it comes to track and field, it's pretty much you and Willis that people are keying in on in the countdown to championships, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, right now, currently, but then Tom Walsh has made a name for himself now. But yes, there has been Nick and I for a very, very long time. Before me, it was Beatrice Famuina, and then we had the John Walkers and all that. But it's good to see track and field grow. From when I started track and field in New Zealand, it was such a small sport. It's still a small sport, but there was not many elite athletes, so to speak. Where now we have a few more travelling the world and competing, and hopefully inspiring a younger generation of athletes to come through and continue on the sport. Obviously in New Zealand, rugby is such a national sport where that I guess it becomes a little bit more of a social situation. We can go and hang out with your mates and play rugby. Where in track and field you have to be solely focused on yourself, which makes it a harder sport to make it in. So it's good for our country, I guess.
And at this range out from Rio, your name will get mentioned as one of the favourites for your event again. How important is it to you that you get your moment of a ceremony, and because you missed that, haven't you, in the last couple of games, where it's been post-event that you've been upgraded, and it's one of the sort of injustices of our sport.
It is a little bit. It sucks. Like it's one of those events that you can never bring back. Once it's gone, it's gone. The moment is completely gone. And I tried to do it again in New Zealand when I got my medal again there in 2012. It was great, it was fantastic, it was great, people were there, but it's not the same. Like once the moment is gone, gone. But I am looking forward to Rio. It's going to be a very challenging situation for me. But you know what? I'm up for a challenge. I've come this year with more motivation under my belt, and I'm more pumped than ever, even though I'm a lot older this year. And my body is a little bit more on the, not fragile, but it takes a little bit more to warm up these days, and I have a few more straps on than per usual. But in saying that, I'll be there firing on all four cylinders, and we hope for the best in our bowlers to defend my title, so we shall see.
And your Commonwealth, and there is somewhere coming down the track a possible bid for the Commonwealth Games from Birmingham. That's starting to be talked about for some years from now.
I'll be retired and dead by then, hopefully. So.
But do you get a great reception when you're competing in the UK? Is it more special than other parts of the world?
I think it's great. I mean, for New Zealand, we have that good Commonwealth connection between the UK, and we have a massive connection with the UK itself between us and New Zealand. And whenever I come to the UK, there's always some Kiwi somewhere. There's always a Kiwi in the crowd. There's always a Kiwi on the streets. There is someone somewhere, and it's awesome because you do feel a little bit part of this. I mean, I'm half English, believe it or not. My father's actually from Bristol, and which is cool, but I'm a Kiwi. And it's good to come here and compete. I love competing in London as well. That's also a great meeting, but you just do what you want to do.
And that sequence of wins that you put together, which was in the end a bit of an albatross for you, where every competition you had to win first and foremost?
It was pretty. The pressure was on. I ain't gonna lie. Like when I got to 49, that was all good, and then when I went for my 50th, there was so much pressure on. I was in New York Diamond League, and I was up against Michelle, and she was beating me, and everybody was thinking, oh my God, he's going to take away her winning streak, and she's supposed to be number 50, and yada yada yada. I ended up beating her by a couple of centimetres. And the competition wasn't that great, but I got my 50 wins. That was awesome. But to be honest, like when it was taken away from me, I got to 56 competitions, one in a row, and all the rest of it. Well, when it all was taken away from me, I kind of put myself in that situation. I was injured and all the rest of it, and I was like, whatever happens, happens. And it was taken away from me, and I was like, hey, sweet, start again, clean slate. And the pressure was gone. But every competition I went to for like 5 years was like, you're gonna win, and people were bidding on me and all the rest of it. So I'm quite happy to just chill out and compete to the best of my ability without this overhanging winning streak that I've got to keep going for as long as I can. So I'm cool now.
How many championships do you think you've got left? How many are you targeting Olympic rotations?
Like another games, you mean? Okay, this is my 4th Olympic Games, so let's just not forget that. There is more to life than track and field, people. This is my 4th Games, and I love doing what I do. Somebody asked me outside, what about 2020? I'm like, watch this space, people. And then, next year and all the rest of it. But to be honest, like I've been very grateful and blessed to have this opportunity to be in my 4th Olympics this year. It's more than what most athletes are able to do. So, it's a 16-year stretch, and I've loved every moment of it, but you know, if we talk about the next, let's just see what happens tomorrow, the next day, after the Olympics, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Questions from you? Any questions? I think you've had the opportunity of one-to-one as well. Well, good luck.
Sweet,
Tomorrow
thank you.
it's going to be great weather. I hope you have a great competition.
Thank you very much, guys.